How y'all doing? Back at it again for some No Ideas Original Sports. I'm here with Kareem and Theo. What y'all been up to?
Just chilling, watching as much as I can in terms of sports. A lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Same here, man. How you guys doing?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm good, man. Enjoying these games and stuff, man. Big weekend of games. So looking at it, man. Listen, we had a big weekend of football this weekend. We start off going through some of these games or something and what we think and these predictions. I would say I watched the so far to me at least most of these games seem to be really competitive. You have a couple of ones that they got a little uncompetitive at the end, but like one of the ones I thought was one of the better ones was the Buffalo Bills and the Colts. You guys got a chance to see that?
Yeah, that was a good one. Um, not really surprised by the outcome. I thought the Bills going into that game would win. I like the way the Bills performed all season long. I had them as like one of my sleeper teams. So, but like you said, I thought it was a good game. The Colts, I think we spoke on it offline, but I think the Colts should run it back. Um, with what's the guy from used to play with the Chargers as the QB?
Philip Rivers.
Rivers?
Yeah, Rivers. So I think they should run it back with Rivers. I know he's getting up there in age, but they put up a good game against Buffalo. So
The Colts had that game. They could have won that game.
Yeah.
This field goal, overthrown pass in the end zone by Rivers. Um, Colts are a funny team. They're a team that could be up by 20 more points and blow the lead. They could be down by 20 more points to come back and tie the game. But it came down to Rivers, I guess, making those two plays, making a pass here and there for the Colts. They couldn't do it. So
What
I
what
guess
did you
The Bills prevailed, so to speak.
what did you think of them going for it on the fourth down in like the beginning of the first quarter, or the second quarter, whatever it was? I mean, I don't think I think that was like one of those times where they took the field goal off the board. Where I just didn't understand that going for it at that point. It was like at the beginning of the game. I think they were down by three or something like that. I didn't get that one.
yeah, I like the idea of being aggressive, but I don't know if I would be that aggressive and like you said that early on in the game. Um, so yeah, it wasn't
You
a
know, a
big.
decision. I'm sorry, a decision like that could hurt the team's confidence or momentum early in the game, and momentum could carry on for a whole game, not just one quarter or two. So, in a situation like that, take the points and stay close.
Yeah, because I think Buffalo went on to go on like a 94-yard drive and score after they missed that. After they didn't get it, they took and went on a 94-yard drive.
It's one of those things like Theo said. If you score there, your players may get riled up and it benefits you, but not scoring it can be deflating. you know. So, but overall, I thought it was a good game.
Yes, very good game.
So I watched the Rams in Seattle. And I got to tell you, I remember early on in the year we were talking about MVP candidates, and Russell Wilson looked like he was a world beater and stuff like that. Man, a lot changed since the beginning of the season to now. So I don't know if it was the line failed him or whatever, but he definitely didn't look too. He didn't look sharp. The line looked terrible.
For
DK
whatever
Metcalf was
reason,
shut down. I mean,
It's like the Rams had their number for whatever reason.
yeah, they
Um,
they didn't look good at all.
Well,
yeah,
Seattle don't have no run game. Honestly, to tell you the truth, they're more of just a pass oriented kind of team. You need to find a run game or just sign Marshawn Lynch back. But the theater of their offense is not having a running back that I guess you can respect, so to speak. And guys get I guess 3 yards here and there. You need to get a good running back for next season. Metcalf is nice. Lockett is nice. But other than that, you came in with just passing the ball with no running game.
Yeah, and I think those guys make spectacular catches for him because I think Lockett made another one yesterday on the sideline with one hand or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I
I was
think
kind of going into that game. I was kind of hoping that, and he had a decent game, I guess you could say Metcalf. I was kind of hoping that he would go off on Ramsey a bit. Ramsey's good, but for some reason, sometimes he can rub people the wrong way. But I guess to play his position and to be at the top, you got to be that type of dude, you know? You can't be out there passive. So I was hoping just based on that Metcalf will have a monster game. So I know like one play that sticks out, I think Wilson was like scrambling and he found Metcalf for the touchdown on the deep ball. So that kind of excited me. Overall, I didn't care who really won the game, but I was hoping Metcalf just performed well. I was a little shocked, like you said, on how bad Wilson looked. No, for some reason, they just can't figure out that Rams defense. But overall, like you said, I thought that was a good game too.
Yeah, I think the crazy thing is the Rams do seem to have Wilson's number, and they started the game with I forgot the journeyman quarterback, and Goff ended up having to come in as relief in the game. So we'll see how he is next week or something. They might try to get the other guy that can run a little bit going before putting Goff in there because he kind
Yeah, I
of
think the other guy
struggled
was
too.
Walford or something like that.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
Hmm.
a few minutes in, Adams hit him, right? The guy was going to slide. Adams hit him, and he's out of the game.
yeah.
So, but I think this guy has like you say, he came in early in the game. He wasn't expected probably to play at all, maybe, but he has the thumb injury, right? Is why he's out.
Yeah, right. Fractured thumb.
Yeah, golf. So it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, if he has to start the next game because he didn't look that great. You know, he wasn't terrible. He was more like what we said before with some of these guys, like a game manager. Thought he did a decent job of that, but he definitely wasn't himself. So now is 1 week enough for him to heal up to be, resemble himself or not?
I think they got a good game out of Cam Akers, the running back. That helped them out a lot. The running game looked pretty good with him yesterday. They don't have the most consistent running game, so I can't count on that from week to week. So I give the highlights.
Another thing to look out for is Donald got hurt as well, right?
Yeah,
So what's he going to look like next week? Right, that may impact him as well going into the next game.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. He's big. Hope he could play. If we don't play, man, that's a big hole in the gap.
He was struggling when he came out. They said I didn't follow up to see what it was, but it looked like some type of rib injury or something. He was struggling to breathe on the sidelines.
yeah,
Donald.
definitely a
So
ribbon.
to have a guy that's probably potentially defensive player of the year, even in MVP talks, to lose him potentially, that could be huge.
Yeah. Before he got hurt, he sacked Wilson twice too. Before he got hurt.
Yeah, he was controlling the game. So to see him go down, sure they pulled it out, but what is their team going to look like next week? Like you said, the running game for them isn't too consistent. Now you got Golf maybe forced into action a little sooner than you wanted him to be. You have Donald hurt. Who knows the extent of his injury, if he's going to play or not or what. So it's going to get interesting for them.
Yeah. Then we got a chance to see TB12 again go out there and beat the Washington football team. I think that the score was 31-23, but I don't think the game was that close. It never seemed like Washington even had a chance in the game. They hung in there and they made some good plays, but I never got a feeling that Tampa was going to lose that game at all.
Yeah, me either. It was nice to see Antonio Brown get that touchdown pass. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to see him get a pass. But like you said, that game, the score was closer than the game actually was, I think. Like I didn't feel at any point that Tampa was in any danger of losing that game. The only thing there is I think he came back, he played, but Evans looked like he got a little banged up for Tampa. Gronk, I don't know what he's doing these days. He looks like he should have stayed retired.
Agree.
I mean,
Well, the Bucks are a better team, so it's to be expected. looking forward, the Redskins have pieces, man. The defense is there ahead of schedule. They could find a running back and make a trade for a good running back, or find a kid in the draft who's NFL ready. They can make some noise in the next few years coming up, man.
Yeah, they do look good. I was surprised. I mean, that front, I thought they would get to Brady sometimes. They did a couple of times, but I think the offensive line of Tampa Bay did better than I thought they would. They really started getting to Tom Brady when the tackle went out when he got hurt. That's
Hmm.
when they really started getting to Brady. But I thought they would be all over him. But they definitely have the pieces that their front four, and they was saying that you got a couple of good receivers. You got a lot of good pieces on that team.
Yes,
Plus,
they
they
do.
play in the
The
same
quarterback,
division.
all right, Hanky, I think his
Yeah,
name is. Yeah, he was impressive. I thought. I'm sitting back saying, man, I wish he was in a Jets uniform. This guy, Arnold to me out there.
it's going to be tough for them because remember they let go of the quarterback. Now Alex Smith is talking about retiring possibly,
Yeah,
and
he shouldn't have came back. You
yeah,
know.
he's talking about possibly retiring. They let go. I forget the kid's name. They let him go. The quarterback from Ohio State. They let him go, and they
Hmm.
Haskins, right?
yeah they let
Yeah.
him go. And and now Smith is retiring, so you think he might be the guy. Who knows? But they'll
He
be
was
looking to
pretty good.
draft somebody. But they in that
Well,
division, that's something. It's funny, just outside of the playoffs. I was looking at something today where Doug Peterson met with the owner of the Eagles. There's something that he's not too happy about how the team's progressing after winning the Super Bowl. So he's supposed to come back to the owner with a plan or something to tell him how he's going to fix the team. I don't know. I don't know if Doug Peterson going to be there next year or survive it, because right now Carson Wentz doesn't seem like he wants to be there, and Jalen Hurts. I think he could do it. I don't know if he's the future. So they got a lot of question marks there. I think Dallas will be fine. Theo's happy to hear that. I think Dak will be back next year, so they'll be back on the road, back rolling. So I don't see them having any issue. But
No,
I
are they
think
gonna give him that big contract? You think though, Dak?
he's
they
got a
have to
lot
they
of
have to
leverage
pay him.
now. Yeah,
They have to pay him. But I got a feeling they're gonna give him that tag one more time. To be honest with you.
Because it almost seems like his value went up, Dak, by not playing. Because it showed how bad they are without him.
Yeah, he started the season playing great until he got hurt. So he started playing very good. Started the season very, very good, I should say. Then he get hurt. Then the team just had like a total collapse without him. So like you said, his value went up real high. So, but do you want to pay Dak 40 million per year? I don't know.
yeah,
Might be the going rate. Like
yeah.
Rudy Gobert got 300 mil, but still, just because the going rate don't mean that you should pay him the going rate, so to speak. So, and
Let me ask you guys this though: how much of that do you think goes back to like the black quarterback? Right? Like if Dak wasn't a black quarterback, would he have received that payday by now? Because
I,
you look at some of these other guys, and these guys are getting paid, and Dak has put his time in. He's had the numbers. He's been on a winner. So I wonder how much of that is being factored in.
I mean, I think so because you got to think about the Eagles Super Bowl. Nick Foles won the Super Bowl, right? But Carson Wentz got the money, and was him at the. I mean, Carson Wentz was him. He looked like world beaters in the first year or two, but I can't say besides being injured, he's done much of anything since or something. And I think that's who Dak was kind of comparing himself to when he looked at the money. I mean, if you look at the stats and the play comparably, I think Dak is probably ahead of Carson Wentz now, definitely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
yes,
So, I mean, he should be getting at least Carson Wentz money. I think Carson Wentz is at 28. I mean, you got other guys like Kirk Cousins at 28 or something like that.
To me, yeah, it almost seems like a lot of these teams, these franchises, are like afraid not only to draft a black quarterback but to invest in them as well.
I think when you look at the quarterback, you got to kind of go like this. You got to look at Pat Mahomes and work your way down. So you look at what Mahomes got, and you look at what Watson got, and Dak should be around that level, probably around Watson or maybe a little less. I think Watson might have got like 5 years for 200 or something like that, or
Yeah,
5 years for close to 200. So he's got to get at least 35. But the only thing is, like Theo's saying, I give Jerry Jones credit. He doesn't that market value stuff versus what he thinks they should be paid. He won't overpay somebody.
that's true.
Ezekiel Elliott had that same problem. He was fighting to try to be the highest paid running back and stuff, and that didn't happen.
Right. Guy, I'm a Cowboys fan. I follow them a lot online, a lot, on other platforms. Jerry Jones likes Dak Prescott. I
Okay.
don't think he loves Dak Prescott.
Oh, okay.
That being said, what Reem alluded to, if Dak was non-black, we got paid already. Look at Twitter Romo.
Yeah.
He paid
Yeah.
Romo a whole bunch of money twice.
Yeah.
What did Romo do? He loves Romo. He loves Romo to this day. So the question remains: how much do Jerry Jones really support or really believe in Dak Prescott? And as a Cowboy fan, I don't think he believes in him that much so far. Even though Dak has shown that he could be a very good quarterback. I think he's a back end top 10 quarterback from
Yeah.
from 7 to 10, maybe 6 to 10, give or take. Somebody I
You
guess like
consistent
you.
Mario.
He doesn't seem to have that love for him. That like you said, Tony Romo, that Jason Witten love,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah. The
Not
Exactly.
Witten guy.
exactly love
Exactly.
him.
Yeah, they gave Witten
Exactly.
$10 million and nobody else was trying to sign him. Yeah, that made no sense.
You know.
I mean, do you
Exactly.
think there's a
Even
scenario where Dak gets traded?
no. I think he get a franchise tag because they don't want to pay him 40 mil. Jerry Jones did the same thing when we had Emmitt Smith. He didn't want to pay Emmitt Smith this money. And
Yeah.
we went 0-3 without Emmitt Smith. So you're gonna do that again to the team? So I can't
Yeah.
see him. I can't see him starting the year having Dak sitting home with his brother just chilling. Like I think that he's gonna just franchise tag him for the last time. I guess that probably about 38, 39 million instead
Yeah.
of 42, 43 million that Dak wants. But Dak right now is in the driver's seat. He's sitting
Yeah, I
pretty.
think so. What do you
Yeah, I
think?
would agree.
I mean, we're talking about quarterbacks and stuff. I was watching the Baltimore Tennessee game. I was glad to see Lamar Jackson get over that hump. He got his first playoff win. I mean, I think Baltimore won. I think the defense did a great job or something, and it was him and Lamar Jackson did a good job of running the ball and stuff. I still think that was him, even though they won. I still think it's going to be tough to beat some of these other guys without being able to throw the ball as much. I
Yeah,
mean, Tennessee had a good plan somewhat to try to contain the run. What was funny is they looked like they were containing the outside, and the big runs he got, he broke off running up the middle. So it'll be
Hmm.
tough to contain Lamar Jackson from running. I don't see that happening, like completely stopping him. But if you can stop like J.K. Dobbins and those other guys from running or whatever, and it's just Lamar Jackson, it makes it that much tougher to beat a team. I mean, I think with him, but I'm not sure who they'll get next. But with him, it'll be tough to match like scoring with some of these teams, like say a Buffalo Bills, if all you can do is go out and run the ball.
yeah. It's funny because I thought those two teams had like similar game plans to beat each other. They're very similar in that they're very like run heavy, right? Offense. And I thought that's what the Ravens did well. It's kind of like forced Tannehill, right? They wasn't letting Henry just run all over him.
Yeah,
And
they
so
slowed him
we're
down.
gonna force Tannehill to beat us with his arm. And they end up losing. But I think it's a similar strategy with the Ravens, right? You got to force as best you can anyway, because he's a dynamic player. But as best you can, you got to force Lamar Jackson to beat you with his arm. He's got to be able to throw that ball downfield. I think he did it a couple of times here and there this game, but can he do it consistently? Like you say, you get into one of those games against the Buffalo Bills or whoever it is where you got to put some points on the board quick. That might be a problem for them. But it was nice to see him get over that hump because he was taking a lot of heat for not being able to win in the playoffs, only being a good regular season team. But I got to tell you, going into that game, I thought the Titans was going to win that game.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I like Lamar Jackson, but his accuracy would still be his problem. We face team has better defense, team who can score like Steelers, Browns. They can score. They have weapons. The Chiefs. So if I'm coordinated, I'm doing a lot of zoning. I'm paying too much man because his accuracy is up and down. He has a strong arm, but it's like McNabb from the Eagles years ago. A strong arm, but throw the ball to the dirt, throw the ball too high here and there. So if I'm a coordinator, man, I'm making him throw that football, man, and have a spy in the middle so he can't run for 100 yards.
Yeah, that's a real good point. Because him, like you said, he does have a strong arm. It's just where's the ball gonna go when it leaves his hand?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's one of
that,
those guys that he has all the physical tools, but in terms of like even in terms of him with a playbook, can you trust him to open up the playbook enough where you can run like some more complex passing schemes and stuff with him, or do you have to like simplify the playbook? Is that part of their problem where you got to simplify it and it almost becomes a little predictable to the defense due to his limitations?
Hmm.
I mean,
Well, yeah, I like their tight end Ravens
yeah.
have. The key to their day is Josh Brown. He has no hands. Sometimes he has a lot of drop passes. So his hand comes and goes. What they should do, I guess, install a lot of more screens. Maybe double reverse here and there, but add some more screens to help out Lamar Jackson instead of him running the ball all the time. Do a wide receiver screen, or maybe a screen to running back here and there. So if they install more screens, I guess I would assume that'd be more helpful to the Ravens moving forward.
Yeah, I was happy to see Des Bryant out there, getting
Yeah.
catches too or something. That was good to see. But I think you're absolutely right. Some screens, maybe a couple of like quick slants and stuff like that, just to get him,
Hmm.
things that are manageable for him instead of trying to get him to place the ball between the safety and the corner or something. I don't
Right.
I don't think that's where he's at right now. Like
Hmm.
some screens, some quick slants or quick outs, and a couple of things down the sideline, those type of things.
Right.
Where it's not, where it really is his man and one defender type of things.
Yeah, one of the things that scares me with Lamar Jackson is to me, he's very RG3 ish, you know. And remember, RG3 was tearing the league up too at one point, but all it takes is that wrong cut or that one hit, and all that running stuff is done. So he's got to develop. I'm not saying he needs to become a pocket passer because you don't want to make that mistake either, right? Of
Yeah,
making him sit back there and become the next Tom Brady, right? That's just not who he is. He's never going to be that type of guy who's just standing in the pocket. But he's got to get a little better um, in terms of his ability to, like you said, throw a deep ball where you could actually predict where it's going to go. It's not random. But either way, it's impressive to see the guy still be able to manufacture wins. Granted, he has a great defense as well, but it's impressive to see him still be able to win games with the accuracy he has or lack thereof.
Agree.
so after that we had the Saints and the Bears. Was about, I mean, I don't think anybody, I mean, I know I didn't pick the Bears to win that game, and the Saints won. That was pretty predictable, the outcome of that. I mean, I will give this guy credit. I don't think he played that bad. He managed to make a good show on Trubisky. He was, coming back from getting basically sent down to like the practice squad or something. He managed to pull himself together and put together a good string of games. But in watching the game, he had some bad things happen for him. Like one of his receivers got ejected from the game or something. Anthony Miller, I think it was, who got ejected from the game.
Hmm.
The defense lost Roquan Smith last week in the Packers game, so they didn't have him over the middle. So they started off with a disadvantage to begin with, and and I didn't think they would win at full strength, and then they really was him and stayed true to form. I think they scored 9 and lost by like 20-9 or something.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it was kind of had the Saints winning that one the whole way. The only thing I was kind of looking out for, not even so much as with the Bears win, but with Drew Brees, we have to make it through that game and remain healthy, because the guy is coming back from a massive injury. So just seeing him make it through the full game without sustaining another major injury was a big thing. But outside of Breeze, and it was nice to see Thomas on the field, right? Because he had an up and down season in terms of health. But to me, it was more about just watching the Saints stay healthy out there. Other than that, I already had them in the next round, so it wasn't any surprise there for me.
Yeah, I can't add too much to what you guys are talking about. I had the Saints win the game. I'm hearing Drew Brees may retire after the season, supposedly. So we'll find out soon enough down the line. Uh, the Bears need to really have a real serious focus on finding a quarterback. Every year they're just a defensive tease year in year out. They always hold these high scoring teams to 20 points, 21 points, 17 points, which is like I guess manageable points to score. But without a good quarterback, they're gonna find themselves in the first round exit every year.
So
Yeah, that's a good point.
I agree with you 100%. I got an interesting question about the Saints, though. We all hear about Drew Brees retiring, and we've seen Taysom Hill, and I don't know what's going to happen with Jameis Winston. I know personally, I don't think Taysom Hill is a full-time quarterback. I couldn't see him lead the team to the playoffs or anything like that. What do you guys think of Taysom Hill?
It's funny. I haven't seen enough of them. I think that's what the problem is. There's not too many people have. So I'm not sold on them just based on that. So if Breeze does retire, they may have a serious quarterback problem on their hands too. Because I'm not sold on them just based on experience alone.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his. I've seen enough of him when he folded in, when Drew Brees got hurt. He's like Lamar Jackson. He's dangerous with his feet, but he'll have a good. I guess he has a solid arm. I make him pass the ball. I'd be scared of Lamar's arm than his arm, put it like that, from what I've seen so far. So looking to the future, I don't believe in him. I think he's good enough to have him make the playoffs. But as far as winning the Super Bowl, to work with accuracy, I don't see that.
Crazy thing is, with Michael Thomas there, we could probably help. Either one of us could probably play quarterback and almost get into the playoffs. It's not hard to throw the ball to that guy.
No,
Right. Just throw it up.
it
Just
looks
throw it
like
up.
he's always open. It seems like
Yeah, exactly. Just you gotta have some space to throw him the ball, Thomas. But yeah, Hill, I'm not sold on him for whatever reason. It almost seems like they want him to be like this star type of player or something. There's something about him that apparently that organization likes so much.
Yeah, it's Sean Payton. Every coach have some player that they like more than others that they'll force the issue or give this guy extra opportunity to make the team or get on the field, so to speak. But Taysom Hill, I don't see him having that ability to carry the team to the Super Bowl. Playoffs, yeah, but when the Super Bowl, I don't think he's that guy.
So what do you guys think about the Cleveland Pittsburgh thing? I gotta say I don't know which way most guys are going because it seems even, but I would like to see Cleveland win personally.
Yeah, me too. Just the excitement of them not being in the playoffs. All these years finally get in. I wish Odell was out there with them, but I would like to win just based on that. Somebody new get in. Granted, nothing against the Steelers. I think the Steelers had a hell of a season. They're kind of going backwards though from where they were at the beginning of the season. kind of struggled at the end of the season. But I would like to see the Browns win just because it's exciting to me to see them in there to finally make the playoffs.
Yeah. Uh,
Cleveland actually got better once OBJ got hurt. I mean to say it like that, but it is what it is. You could beat a team, but so long. I mean, Pittsburgh been beating the Browns for since we was in junior high school. You know, so this has going on for many years. So it's good to see the Browns finally have some weapons, some talent on the team. And right now, as we speak, they're winning 14-0 right now. Honestly,
yeah. They're definitely up.
so right now Pittsburgh is on decline. A lot of these wins has been very close. A lot of teams beat themselves, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Really, one thing about Pittsburgh, they don't beat themselves.
Yeah,
So a lot of teams, I guess, throughout this year, what they win is a lot of teams beat themselves, miss field goals or a penalty here and there. But during late in the season, they kind of fell back. But tough losses, struggle to run the football. Defense can't hold leads. Big Ben looking old. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's a
it's
good
good to
point.
see Cleveland Browns. Have opportunity to get these guys out of there and get that big month off their back. They've been back for 20, 25 years, man.
Yeah, I mean, is Roethlisberger? Does he have more in the tank after this year? You guys think, or something? I mean, I know. Even Pittsburgh. We're hearing that I think the other guy, Mason Crosby, or something that they might be preparing for him because I know Big Ben's deal is almost coming up too. Jen, do you continue to pay him the type of money he's going to command to be the quarterback?
I don't think Big Ben has enough in the tank to finish this year, let alone next year. I think he's done already. I think he's a major part of their struggles. So I think he's done. And besides that, the guy he had a great career. He's serious injuries and stuff like that. Why continue to put your body through that torture? So I think he's a hell of a player, but I think he's definitely one of the guys. If anything, we would call him a game manager. I would say at this point, he's in game manager mode. But yeah, I don't think he has too much left in the tank at all, which is why I think they struggled at the end of this season. One of the reasons, anyway, one of the major reasons.
I could see Big Ben still trying to force another year out of his body. Question is the Steelers bold enough to say, listen, we're going to move on. We feel that the time has come. We want to move off to a different direction. And I don't really see Pittsburgh doing that. I see Pittsburgh trying to, I guess, giving him what he wants, which is one more year. I don't think he's going to retire. And plus, Steelers like to run the football. They can't run the football no more. Connor's struggled the last 6-7 games running the football. Should I put Big Ben in, I guess, a bad situation to throw the ball even more than you want him to, so to speak.
I agree with you. I think Roethlisberger is gonna, if he has to stay, they're gonna let him stay, and
Right.
that'll be that. I mean, just another update. It looks like the Browns scored again, so it's 21-0 in the first quarter.
One of the things I wonder is going back to what I was getting at with Dak, with the black quarterback, applying that now to Pittsburgh with the black coach. You got to pin the blame on somebody. Does the Steelers coach become the fall guy? You think? Because it almost appeared a few times that they was itching to get rid of him. So I wonder if they get eliminated tonight. Do they make a quarterback a coaching change?
I don't think they.
I don't think it would be a good idea personally, but
No, I don't think they do, and I think if they fired him, he'd probably be hired in 2 days or something. Because I don't think he's ever had a losing season. I think he might have had one losing season. If not, every other year he won at least 9 games or more. So I think if it was him, personally, I don't know how much pull he has in the organization, but if I was him, I would look to have them move on from Roethlisberger because I think that will be his downfall. I think if he's got to keep Roethlisberger, and people want to see him win, and then Roethlisberger doesn't do well, and then he has to make a decision mid-season to try to pull him. The whole what is it? The whole thing with the Giants, where this guy pulled Eli Manning. If he's got to start getting into those type of decisions, that's when he'll lose his job. He pulled Roethlisberger in Game 6 to put Mason Crosby in, and all that type of craziness. That's where like the owners who have these beloved players start feeling a little way about stuff. Because even that guy, he really lost his job. I think a big part because of that Eli Manning thing.
Yeah, I would say so. That was definitely didn't help him, right? But I think I could see the Steelers. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up losing this game. I could see them doing something silly and making a quarterback. Keep saying quarterback, but a coaching change. Quarterback change. The reason why I keep thinking that is that's what they need to do. To move that organization forward is make a quarterback change. But I could see them even bringing Roethlisberger back and not the coach in some wild scenario. I wouldn't be surprised.
Mike Thomas is a good coach. He's a player's coach. Sometimes you could show too much favoritism, like I said before in the previous topic, with a certain player. Tomlin, I think, should see from this game going right now how the season progressed with Ben playing and struggling the last half of the season. The game going on right now that it's time for him to make a change, man, and tell Big Ben, hey, listen, you want to play, you can move on somewhere else, but I need to move forward, man. We had a good ride, a good run. I love you, but I'm trying to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
If you keep Big Ben, he'll get fired. Same year Big Ben retires.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so find a quarterback in Pittsburgh.
Speaking of coaches, I got to bring this up, and this is a happy moment. A happy moment. Adam Gase gone, fired finally. So finally, we talking about Mike Tomlin losing his job. If Mike Tomlin loses his job, the Jets should sign him tomorrow. But we're finally rid of Adam Gase. He was terrible. He didn't do anything they said he would, develop the quarterback or anything. All we did bringing in Adam Gase was this. We found out that Sam Darnold can't play. We lost all our top players left to want to get traded, and we lost them. And then people hated him so much that I'm willing to bet you that some of those players that opted out just because they didn't want to play for him. So, you think about it. We lost Le'Veon Bell and Jamal Adams or whatever to keep Adam Gase. And we went out there, then went, and Darnold is worse now than when he was as a rookie.
Yeah, like you said, it's a happy moment as a Jets fan. I was excited to see him gone. Just unfortunate that, I didn't agree with the hire anyway to begin with.
Right.
I think we listened to Peyton Manning supposedly, right, and going down that route. But I didn't agree with the hiring of Gase to begin with. But then outside of what you just said, it's hard to even elaborate even more because it's kind of like, as a Knicks fan as well, how excited we were when Phil Jackson finally got the boot. It almost gives me that feeling. The only thing now is I think I will add that I think it's important that we get this hire right because we've had quite a few coaches come in there, not even just with the Jets, but New York teams in general. We get these coaches, and it seems like we can't get it right. So I think we got to get this one right, and getting it right to me is if Tomlin gets fired somehow, then you got to get him in. But besides something far-fetched like that happening, I think you got to get the offensive coordinator from the Chiefs. To me, that's getting it right.
He's interviewed already.
Yeah, listen, Eric Bieniemy, man, he's the future. He's very creative. Look at the Chiefs' offense; they just took off for him, called a play. So We got him in the interview. You should lock the door and get him signed ASAP, man. But
Because
that
that's
being said, who do you want besides Eric Enemy? You know, Urban Meyer's out there. There's other coordinators out there for other teams that you could think about trying to get. Maybe a college coach,
Yeah, that's
Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma.
yeah, Lincoln Riley. I like him. He's real creative. I think he's pretty good.
I guess that brings up a good point. Is when we talk about like creativity, we need the players around them as well, right? So you bring in the Chiefs coordinator, Bieniemy. Who do you have? Do you keep Darnold? So there's still some moves that have to be made besides bringing him in because he's not going to be creative with no talent, right?
So
So that's one thing. No matter who you bring in, the Jets are going to have to. They need to upgrade across the board
so
on the offensive end, defensive end. So they got a lot of moves that they have to make, no matter who they bring in.
I gotta agree with Theo. Theo was right when he said that they should have made the move quickly because the only thing with interviewing these top flight guys is the longer you wait, the more people get involved. Like I heard that Bieniemy also is planning on interviewing for the Texans job. So right now, if you look at the Texans roster and you look at the Jets roster, what would be the more appealing
Yeah,
job taking the
because
Texans
they
or
at
the
least
Jets?
have a quarterback in place, right?
Yeah, they at least got a quarterback. And think about it this way: even with less talent, he still kind of willed them. They were in a lot of games. The defense cost them a lot of games. They put up a lot of points even without having DeAndre Hopkins. So they got a lot to build off of that. When you look at the Jets, listen, what I'm hoping they don't do is start doing crazy stuff like looking into Carson Wentz and all that type of stuff because the not Joe Judge, Joe Douglas is the ex Philly guy. He looking at Carson Wentz. I don't want anything to do with Carson Wentz or any of those guys. So
And we needed to go as a Jets fan. We needed to go 0-16, get that number one pick, get Gase out, and start fresh. Right now, you got a new coach, new quarterback, and start fresh. Unfortunately, like you said, that didn't happen. The 0-16 thing, for whatever reason, we woke up and decided to start trying to win games. And I think that may have set us back, maybe a little bit. But under the current scenario, you bring in Bieniemy from the Chiefs. Let's say, do you draft the quarterback with the number 2 pick now if you're the Jets,
I mean,
or do
it's
you
If you
get in
believe in Darnold,
that you just mentioned, which I don't want to see, but do you go that route?
I don't believe in Donald. I think the Jets is sad to say. Like I think what you said and what Theo said both make sense in the sense the Jets have so many issues that it might be better to trade the number 2 pick, trade down and get like another first round pick instead of take one of those other quarterbacks because let's say even if Jacksonville decided not to take Trevor Lawrence, like they hired Urban Meyer and Urban Meyer wanted Justin Fields because the Ohio State thing. Why would listen? I mean, Trevor Lawrence comes or something, you go out there. Granted, I think he'll do well, but if you don't got the right coach and you don't got the right situation going on, we still gonna stink. They need corners. They need
Yeah,
a
on
running
every
back.
position.
Think about it. We got Frank Gore as the running back. Some other guys that are like basically taxi squad or practice squad players as the running back. You got. Well, I think they went out and paid all that money for the offensive line, only to find out that the guy they drafted, Becton, was by far better than any of those guys. And he was the rookie. He was the best one on the offensive line. The defensive line, I think they'll get better next year when you got the guy from Baltimore that they paid all the money to that opted out. He'll be back
mm-hmm.
or something. The secondary, I mean, you got a bunch of no-name guys there. So you got Marcus May and you got Ashton Davis. You couldn't even name those other guys.
The
So
dude from the Ravens, what was his deal this season? Because I know he got hurt last season.
now he opted out. They allow players to opt out for the COVID thing, so he opted out. And you know what's funny about that opt out thing? I think the Patriots suffered a lot from that too. Didn't the Patriots have three
Yeah,
major
they
players
lost.
opt out?
Yeah, they lost quite a few players to it. Yeah,
The Jets defense is ahead of the offense. So they need to focus on offense in this draft or free agency. They
Yeah.
have pieces in place with defense. I like Marcus May. I like the other safety. D-line is pretty solid. You guys are pretty above solid on defense. No more Frank Gore. I love Frank Gore. He's great. But get somebody
Yeah.
young back there. Okay, who it is? Find a tight end. What I'm saying, get him a number one receiver.
Yeah.
Get him some more pieces on offense. But just to focus on, I guess, offensive head coach and
Yeah.
try to focus on the draft as far as offensive weapons. That's what I would do.
Hey, I heard this other after the Deshaun Watson thing. I'm sure you guys heard about that, about the whole thing with the
Yes,
GM, and he's upset. What do you think about the possibility that this Deshaun Watson asked to be traded or something? Think he'll try to be traded?
that's tough because he has no trade clause,
Oh wow.
so he controls where he goes.
Oh
I
wow.
heard a rumor earlier today about maybe for Tua and some pieces. Guys heard about that?
Yeah, yeah, I
So
heard some. But if
yeah,
he's got a no
so
trade clause, that's gonna be real tough. Yeah.
right, so he gonna dictate where he want to go. So you just can't trade him anywhere. So if you're gonna trade the Sean, you might as well trade JJ Watt too as well, and just have a complete
Yeah,
rebuild.
yeah, got the team at that point because it's
Yeah, just completely cut
oh,
the team and just do it. And right now, even though it's hard to find quarterbacks in this time, you might have to trade the Sean for some pieces. Find
Yeah.
GM who know what the hell he's doing and know how to draft pretty well. Look at Jimmy Johnson years ago. We trade Herschel Walker for like 50 picks. 40, 50 picks was great.
Yeah.
So you never know. So
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
got to
trade
find
Deshaun, you gotta
those
trade
Minnesota
JJ.
Viking deals, those Minnesota
Right,
Viking deals, the Ricky Williams Chicago deal with the Saints.
right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Good one.
and it looks like the Browns are up 28-0 now. So
Wow, I'm loving it.
And
I'm
it's
loving it.
crazy. It's still the first quarter.
I'm
yeah,
loving it.
28-0,
I'm
the
loving
first
it.
quarter. Yeah, listen, man. Like we talked about. This is just watching what I'm seeing while we're on here. This is a telltale sign that Roethlisberger is watching his play right now. I mean, if Tomlin had any clout in the organization at halftime, Mason Crosby will be running this offense.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
he's not gonna be able to do that. So with all these different playoff things we've seen, so who do you guys still have for your Super Bowl picks or something? I got KC and Tampa Bay. I don't know. I kind of like Tampa Bay. I'm gonna go with Kansas City versus Tampa Bay.
I'm assuming that's probably the Tom Brady effect.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay. Yeah, I like you said, Kansas City. I could see Tampa Bay. I don't know if they're necessarily my pick, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's kind of hard to go against Brady. I know we called him a game manager, a good
Right.
game manager, as Theo put it before. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The only one I would say right now for me that I think is a lock, barring any type of significant injury, is Kansas City. But I wouldn't be surprised with your picks as well.
I like Green Bay, to be honest with you
yeah,
guys. Green Bay is playing very good. I think they're the better team out of the NFC. The AFC, of course, everybody gonna say the Chiefs. But the Chiefs
Mhm.
been having some scoring low output the last few games here. I don't know, they're going through the motions, so overconfident.
Yeah,
So they better be careful playing maybe like some teams like the Bills, so to speak, because
yeah,
the Bills is tough as well. So I'll go Chiefs for now though, but the last few games they've been kind of shaky, scoring 14 points. Tampa Bay, I mean, a lot of Falcons was beating their butts until the last 5 minutes of the game, and they came back and scored. So it might be a sexy pick, heavy favorite though, but you can't just turn it off when you feel like doing that.
yeah.
I think that's probably one of the things with Kansas City that maybe about in terms of because blowing people out, eventually you're going to be in a close game. So to see them still be able to pull out these close games, I think isn't impressive. So they're learning how to win in close games. And they
Right.
did a bunch of that, I would say, last year too in the playoffs, right? There was a couple of times in those playoffs where we were like, man, the Chiefs, they look like they're done. And then second half, here they come, you know?
I mean, even in
Right.
the Super Bowl, even in the Super
Yeah,
Bowl, there was a point
yeah.
where they
Super
looked
Bowl, they
like,
looked
you
like
know,
it was pretty much over.
yeah,
And Tyreek Hill and Mahomes woke up, you know?
yeah. And I gotta agree with Theo too because I think Green Bay is the team that most scares me. I think they're kind of like slipping under the radar. Nobody's really saying much about them and stuff like that. And plus, you still got to go through Lambeau. It's gonna be freezing, so that's gonna be something that weather's always gonna affect how people play going up there because they're the number one seed, so everybody's got to go through Lambeau. So that's gonna be interesting.
I feel like we say that, and it's probably because of Aaron Rodgers, but I feel like we say that about Green Bay almost every year. Where, you know, they're always in the hunt. They're one of those teams that's always in the hunt. Um, for whatever reason, it seems like they find some way to lose somehow. But they're definitely a team. I would say that's a good pick. I would say that's probably my pick. Would probably be Green Bay. Um, that's a good pick. Green Bay
Yeah.
they're tough.
I
Yeah,
like Green Bay. They may beat the Chiefs, but Green Bay is hot right now. You know, they always beat my Cowboys. They'll always beat my Cowboys, but you know, I gotta keep it real, man. So you know, they're gonna mess around and beat the Chiefs, man. If they link up in Super Bowl, that'd be a great high scoring game.
Yeah.
now, if they were, let's say they win the Super Bowl, do you think Aaron Rodgers sticks around? I think he still could play, but do you think he's one of those guys that is Tom Brady-ish, where he's trying to play 20 something years and
Yeah, I could see him doing that.
You,
I could see him
you know
doing
what?
that. I could see him playing until the wheels fall off, so to speak. Yeah, I could see that with Aaron Rodgers.
He seems like the
And
type
why
of guy
not?
that
You know,
just wanted
you're
to.
top of your game. Why not? You're top of your game. You one of the top five quarterbacks. Might be MVP this year. Team is kind of loaded on both sides of the ball. You know, we got players on both sides of the ball. Why not?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised seeing Aaron Rodgers is the type of guy that, yeah, he wants to play for a while, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it not be on Green Bay. Kind of like the way the Tom Brady thing plays out, where not this year. If they win the Super Bowl, he'll definitely be back next year. But a year after that or something, you see him on some other team because it's just I don't think he loves the management there, and I know he doesn't love the coach. So I think plus that crazy thing drafting the first round drafting a
Mm,
quarterback. Eventually, in
right.
the next 2 or 3
yeah, that
years,
kind of
he's
rubbed
gonna
them
have
the
to
wrong
give.
way, it seems. Yeah,
And that seems to be their thing to do. They did it to Brett Favre. I couldn't see why they wouldn't do it to him. So
yeah, that's a good point. And
Very
then
good point.
supposedly, yeah, that's a good point. Um, but I would hate to see Rodgers go out and be. Granted, he hasn't had the injuries like we just spoke on with Big Ben, right? But sometimes these guys, I think, play a season or two too long, and I think that's what we're seeing with Big Ben. Rodgers isn't there yet. He's still. You just mentioned him in MVP talks. But a couple of more seasons, will he be, that Big Ben mode where he's doing more harm than good for the team? I think Drew Brees is almost approaching that too. Even before the injury with Drew Brees, he was almost um, he could still play, but he was in that game manager mode of um, can't throw the ball as far downfield as he used to be able to. He's always been accurate, Drew Brees, but so I don't know if Rodgers wants to be one of those guys. But even at that, Rodgers not being 100%, so to speak, is probably still better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. The guy's just that good.
hey, that sounds like a good time to us to move on to the NBA. So I'm looking at this year so far and all the different things going on. What's surprising you guys? What's so far about the East and the West? What teams are surprising you, and what teams kind of disappointing you now?
I guess what's not surprising me is Kyrie can't seem to get out of his own way. You know that we spoke on it before, and here it is. He misses the game, right? Saying, and they asked him about it after the fact, and he said, "Because I didn't want to play," was supposedly his response. So that's one of the things that's not surprising me. In terms of team performance, I would say not so much as a surprise, but I think they've looked good, better than I thought they would. It's probably Phoenix with Chris Paul over there. I think they have one of the best records in the league so far. They're like 7-3, something like that, 8-3. So I'm not too surprised there, but I didn't think it would come together this early. My Knicks look like they were going to be a surprising team, and now the last few games we look like we're back to the original Knicks, where we're in Jalen Suggs, Cade Cunningham sweepstakes again. So they look like they were going to be one of my surprise teams, but we're back to the same old Knicks. So I would say that's probably my biggest surprise is seeing the Knicks improve, at least under Thibs, but almost seemingly reverting back to who we were. And then I would say so far the Phoenix Suns. And then, Kyrie can't get out of his own way.
Toronto Raptors are a very disappointing team.
That's a good one there too.
Yeah.
Toronto.
A team that has, I guess same kind of players. Won a chip 2 years ago. The chemistry should still be there, the chemistry, but right now they're not playing well. Siakam is not playing to his capabilities, even though Kenyatta loves him to death. But he ain't playing he's not playing well right now, as well as the team right now. So it has Raptors as my most disappointing team. I would say Cleveland was playing pretty good. Started the year, Keanu's player Garden was playing pretty good too for them, like he said in the previous show. Cleveland is just playing good. Sometimes you could look good without winning, so to speak, if that makes sense. Like the Knicks right now, or Cleveland, like you see where they're going, they're playing hard, they look coached up, they're executing. But sometimes it's just that the talent ain't there right now, but at least you're being coached up. And, you know what you're doing on the court, so to speak. So teams like the Knicks, like you said, Green, Cleveland, said the Suns too. I would say that so far. Yeah, I would say so far. Maybe Charlotte Hornets looking pretty good. They're playing well, looking exciting. They're in a lot of games, a lot of close games. So I'll say those three or four teams so far in the season.
So I agree with both of you guys. I got a couple of other guys. I guess they kind of like this is how they normally are. Indiana Pacers playing fairly well, but to some extent it seems like for them it's always kind of expected. So I don't know if it's that they're playing well or they're just playing where they should be. Atlanta, the Hawks look like they could be pretty exciting. They started off strong, but I don't know exactly where they're at. But they definitely have good pieces and they're a better team. Denver and Houston are disappointing. I mean, even though they made those deals, Denver is a sub 500 team, and Houston. I mean, Houston with the James Harden thing and all the other stuff going on. I mean,
I think,
that's kind of bad. I will say this: like John Wall looks like he's playing fairly well.
Yes, yes, he is.
He's playing fairly well. So, and I like the way the Christian Wood is playing over there. So they got some decent things.
He's a very good player, man.
What about
he's a very good damn player, Christian Woods.
Yep.
What about the Wizards? Are they a surprise? Definitely not in a good way, right?
Well, they lost Thomas Bryant today to torn
ACL.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Thomas Bryant is done with his play.
Thomas Bryant, wow. Give Indiana.
Yeah.
So, the Wizards fall into a category to me I would say as a surprise too. I thought with Westbrook, because you say, all right, John Wall and Bradley Beal didn't necessarily pan out the way they would like. So what would make you think Westbrook and Bill would. And I wasn't even thinking so much, let's say, in terms of that. I was thinking, well, they haven't had Wall in 2 years, right? So now you add a Russell Westbrook next to Bill, and I thought they would be a little better. But yeah, so far, Westbrook doesn't seem like he fits in. Bill is getting his, but unfortunately for him, it's in losses, it seems like, right? He had one game where he had 60, another game he had 50 something, I think it was. So to me, they're a surprising team. I didn't think they would be like a top of the East type of team, but I thought they would be off to a better start than they are. So I would say, yeah, for me, the Wizards is another team that's a bit of a surprise so far.
Yeah, Scott Brooks not really a good coach. I don't know why he's still there, why they hired him in the first place. Scott Brooks not a really good coach. And it's going to get to the point where you have to trade Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
He's either entering his prime or he's in his prime right now. Either or. He can't afford to waste his prime years on the Wizards. So I might have to force force a trade to somebody. Maybe to the Knicks. Never know.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I hope Leon Rose is listening because
yeah,
I would offer
sure,
R.J. Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, whoever they want for Bradley Beal.
I'm not giving up Mitch.
Oh man.
R.J. Barrett, Kevin Knox, Frank, Dennis Smith.
Draft picks, they gotta want
the first round and the draft pick.
I would say they're gonna want a player to whoever they trade them to. They're gonna want a player to that seems like they have some potential, like star potential, and they're gonna want some draft compensation. So you may be able to get away with like the R.J. Barrett thing, right? He can't shoot, but the jury's still out on him because this is only his second season. So you could get away with selling him as, he still has that star potential. And then you throw draft compensation. But I think Kanata, he's always speaking on this, and I would agree, is the Knicks, they need to get the right type of players, more athletic players. They always seem to get these guys that's one-dimensional, not as athletic. But getting back to Bradley Beal, yeah, I would agree. I think they're reaching that point where they're going to have to trade him. And then if I do that, if I'm them, then I got to move Westbrook too, right? If I can. I don't know who's taking that contract, but why keep him around?
Right.
I think I heard before the season that the Nets even tried. I think the Nets tried to give him that same James Harden package. The Caris LeVert, Dinwiddie, Allen package. Whatever.
Now, you think about it, if they turn that down, there's no way they're going to take Kevin Knox, R.J. Barrett, and Dennis Smith Jr.
But I think they're gonna try to hang on to Bill. I think again Westbrook will probably be on the move again. I don't know what you could get for him or who's gonna take him. They're gonna have to. You gonna laugh? They actually have to find a team like the Knicks that's willing to take him, but just to dump his salary for picks or something. Like the Knicks might take him for like a year or something, just so they could get like restock on number one draft, first round picks or something.
Yeah,
which is not a bad idea.
Yeah,
Wizards' first round pick is going to be a lottery pick.
Yeah, I would do that if I'm in. At the very least, Westbrook is a star, right?
Yeah.
He's not necessarily what you would call a winning player in terms of leading you to a championship or anything like that. But at the very least, he provides some type of star power. I don't want him per se on the Knicks, but if they were to get some draft compensation, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you figure for the money, you send back some contracts that match up. I think how many years he got? Maybe like 3 years left?
He's got a few. That's what made it difficult to trade him to begin with. That's why kind of him and Wall that's the only market they had for each other, those two teams.
Yeah, I don't if it's 3 years, I might take. If it's longer than 3 years, I don't think I would do it because teams seem like they're willing to trade for a guy in that last year, so you really only would have to keep him 2. But if it's like 4 or 5 years, I don't think I would do it because you pretty much hamstringing the franchise even with the picks for years. And he was saying players don't seem to like to play with him, and he don't seem like he's like the type of guy that makes other guys better. And he seems like he gets his numbers basically. Yeah, I
But I
mean, he
think
goes out there, he plays hard, but he's got to do it his way, and he gets his numbers and stuff.
I think they're gonna have to. I agree with Theo. I think they're gonna have to do a complete gut job, and Bill, unfortunately, is going to be the casualty of it. That's the only way they're gonna be able to completely rebuild.
You
I
want to
think
hear an interesting thing? You know where a perfect team that it sounds terrible for Bill, but that would be good for Washington?
OKC,
Oklahoma City. Yep,
yeah,
OKC.
all those picks.
Yeah.
They blow some of those picks and send them
Yeah,
over to
they got the
OKC.
cap space too, because they don't have nobody on that team other than like Al Horford making money. So you go out there and you trade them to OKC and get you 3 first-round picks. What's up? And
You know,
Horford or something.
yeah. If I'm them, I would do it.
Yeah, I mean that's the only way
Wizards, that
OKC is
is,
gonna
I
get a
would
player to
consider it.
sign there. Nobody's gonna sign with OKC, so they're gonna have to
I
either
would,
draft really
I,
well or trade
yeah,
for
right.
somebody.
I think Bill will probably prefer to go to a contending team at this point in his career.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know. I don't think OKC is that team, but you never know. You never know.
I would
I guess
say
okay.
a team where he would fit in and probably prefer to go. And I don't know, does Bill have like a no trade clause or anything in his contract? I don't think so. So
No.
I could easily see him ending up on the OKC, but a team I think he would probably prefer to go to would be like the Miami Heat.
Oh yeah,
And you
yeah.
get rid of Duncan Robinson, maybe
Tyler
entice him
Hero.
by throwing in Tyler Hero, right?
But I
That'll
mean I
work.
like
You
yeah.
have Bam, Butler, and Bradley Bill as
But
like
I
your
got
quote unquote big
I got
three.
a better one. I got a better one. Would you do that deal? Or would you take Michael Porter Jr., Gary Harris, Bowl, and a pick? Because they're young, I would take those dudes. I'd take Michael Porter Jr. and what's it, man, Gary Harris. You got a 2 and a 3 or whatever. You still got Russell Westbrook nut or whatever. But I think I would take those guys over Duncan. And Duncan, no defense. Tyler Hero, no defense. So they both gonna score points, but they're gonna give up just as much as they score.
I think Duncan is he a free agent? Duncan this summer? I
Yeah,
think he.
yeah, he is. Yeah,
They
So
got to pay
if you
him.
whoever trades for him, if he is involved in the trade, you're gonna have to pay him. Um, so that's one thing to consider. I would probably, if I'm them now, I don't know if I'm the Wizards. Michael Porter Jr. I like him. The guy has potential, but I don't know if can he stay on the court? It seems like it's always something with him where he's not on the court.
yeah,
All
yeah.
I think he has some ability. I wonder why Denver doesn't play him as much, so that may scare me off a little bit. Is it something they see where they're not giving him the minutes? Gary Harris, I like him, but he's another guy that for some reason is always out with some type of
Big Ben
hanging
just got
injury. It's never anything major, but he's always injured or something. But yeah,
Roethlisberger just got intercepted again.
Mm.
it's interesting.
Yeah. How about Bill going to the Mavericks with Luca? Trade Tim Hardaway, couple some pieces, some draft picks. You never know. A lot
They
of
have some
GMs.
stuff that I mean you're right, they do. I mean if you give them Tim Hardaway and like Josh Richardson and something else, those are
Mm-hmm.
guys that's good
With some
age and
picks.
they could help out a lot.
Only problem with them in terms of their picks is remember they in the Porzingis trade they gave up their 2 first rounders, so they gave up
Oh, right,
2023 because you can't trade first rounders in
Yeah.
consecutive years. So
right.
they wouldn't be
Knicks
able
got
to
their
send
first
the
round
Wizards
pick
any
this year
picks
too,
until
right?
2025 and 2027. Do I want return for Bradley Beal in 2025 and 2027?
When he's out of the league or something, right?
Probably not.
Bradley Bill be 38 at the time you get there.
Yeah, I want to cash in on Bill before 2025. Because that they couldn't send any other picks until then.
Right.
So
I believe.
That's a
we
good
talk
one.
a lot about
Yeah,
different
until 2025 because they gave the Knicks their this year's pick 2021 and 2023.
It's gonna be tough to deal with him.
Plus, I think with a player like him, you got to get somebody who has quote unquote star potential. Whether they reach that potential or not, who knows? But that's what makes, let's say, a Porter Jr. appealing to them because he could be a star.
You gonna lie?
RJ Barrett could be a star. Who knows? The jury's still out on these guys. Tim
If I'm a
Hardaway Jr., we know what he is already. You know,
if,
he's a
if
good
I'm a
player.
team now, if I'm a team now, the teams I'm looking to make deals with is Charlotte and Atlanta. Let me tell you why. If I could go out there and get somebody to give me Hunter and Cam Reddish, or whatever,
Yeah,
Hunter,
exactly. You get those
yeah,
type of dudes in there. Yeah.
yeah, give me Hunter and Cam Reddish, or get somebody to give me Miles Bridges and LaMelo Ball. That deal will be done.
You know you're not getting LaMelo, but they may give you
Yeah, that
Graham,
ain't happening.
He
right?
said that's not happening.
Yeah, they may give
That's
you
not happening.
Devontae Graham at this point.
Yeah, but I don't think they're giving you LaMelo. That's true.
And Graham averaged 18 last year.
Well, you
He's
think
only
about that.
averaging 10 this year, but we know why.
Oh yeah, he's
Putting time with LaMelo, Rozier, right? They got too many guards now, point guards that is.
I mean, that's two guys that can't play together, so they could never trade for Rozier because you can imagine Rozier and Russell Westbrook in the backcourt.
And they got Malik Monk, right, who doesn't get off the bench, and I think Malik Monk has talent, you know?
Yeah, so there's players there, but I would look to the teams that got good young talent or whatever. I mean, I'm not like looking at the Knicks. I'm not trading Toppin away without giving him a chance to see what he can really do. So he's
Yeah,
off the
I
board.
wouldn't.
I would tell you this. And I think me and Theo, and we discussed this offline. It comes up to Julius Randle. I mean, realistically, the way he's playing now, I mean, here's the question. Do you want to keep him? Is he an all-star or do you want to trade him? Because here's the thing. I don't think he'll never have a greater value than what he has right now. Like as far as like his trade value, if you consider it, he's not going to be more than what he is right now.
I
But
think with the
or do you plan? Is he a long-term piece or what?
I think what the Knicks problem is we haven't fully committed to anything yet. Either we're going to fully commit to a rebuild, meaning in that scenario, you get rid of Randall, you put the keys in, let's say, RJ Barrett's hands, Toppin, quickly. You play those guys, right? Mitchell Robinson. But as long as you keep picking up Alec Burks, and Burke was having a good year before he got hurt, averaging 20 a game.
Yeah.
But as long as you keep picking up those type of guys and you kind of in the middle of what you're trying to do. And I can understand why they did it because Thibs, right? Thibs, he wants to win. Thibs is not about wait until 2 years for RJ Barrett to maybe be a star. He wants to win now. And I get that because it helps build the culture there. But I think you have to decide which route you're going. If you're going the route of Randall's playing well, we need to keep him. I don't know why you drafted Toppin then if you go that route. And if you keep Randall, let's say, then you have to start thinking about moving some of these young pieces, whoever you can move to get hopefully a Bradley Beal or somebody else that's a veteran, right? You can't have Randall there playing with RJ Barrett, eating touches away from all these guys, right? Alfred Payton, right? Eating touches away from these guys quickly. He's eating minutes away from quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's the first thing they have to do is decide which route they want to go. If you decide to build from scratch, that is rebuild, which I thought they were doing, then I think you trade Randall. If you think, all right, we got Thibs is impatient, then I think you got to move these guys and try to get not an old team where you got to all of a sudden wake up and become the oldest team in the league, but then you start looking at a guy like, let's say, DeMar DeRozan, right?
Yeah.
Keep Randall, bring in a DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, right? You start looking at those type of guys. But they got to make a decision. Are you going to rebuild completely and go with the young guys, let them get the bulk of the minutes? Or are you going to go the route of trying to build something with Randall as your focal point and bring in some other veterans, Bill, whoever the case may be, to go along with him?
Ren's playing great. He's playing great. The question is, do you hold on to him until the All Star break and see if he can create more value? Right now, he's playing good, maybe because he's playing with a better coach, unlike the previous coach we had before. Tim's a good coach. He's playing within the system. He's not forcing any shots. Unlike last year, he's facilitating more. And also he's our best scorer as far as like a guy who get buckets in time of need. Um, that being said, if you're going to trade Randall, I'd rather trade Randall to free up more money for a salary cap more than I guess the draft pick because next year's draft is pretty. I mean, next year's free agency is pretty good. So well, you never know. I mean, like guys like Kawhi Leonard is out there. You know what I'm saying? And Clippers is not working out right now with Kawhi Leonard. Never know how Kawhi feels. Going back home probably wasn't a good idea. But next year's draft class is pretty good. But if I'm going to trade Randall, it's going to free up more money for a salary cap to get a big time free agent.
Like I'm not saying Kawhi would want to play with Randall per se, but if I am Kawhi, I'd rather play with Randall than Obi Toppin. And it's nothing against Toppin. It's just that Randall is a vet, right? So he's somewhat, right? He's 26 years old. He's proven himself in the league. So those guys aren't going to be, I don't think, looking to go to a team like the Knicks. The Knicks could potentially, I think, in free agency get like if you move on from Randall and you want another big, you could maybe get like a John Collins, let's say. But do you
like John Collins?
Do you already have him? And Obi Toppin, right? He's a very John Collins type of big. So that's the thing that you start looking at Mitch too, is we always throw Mitch in there as like an untouchable. But what about, let's say you say, all right, we're going to move on from Mitch and some type of bigger package for Bradley Beal or whatever the case may be. And then now you have Obi Toppin and you go out and sign John Collins as your two bigs. Because hardly anybody is running with huge bigs these days anyway. So John Collins being 6'9", 6'10", along with Obi Toppin being 6'9", 6'10", isn't the end of the world. You know, how many huge bigs are you going against? But I think they just have to commit to either a full rebuild or commit to trying to win now. This in between is what's killing them. I think Randall, it has the makings on the wall with Randall playing this well to be the next the guy we got rid of, Marcus Morris from last year. This smells like that for Randall, except we may get a little bit more than a late first rounder for him. But what about, let's say, what if a team like the Sacramento Kings call you and they say, yeah, you know what, we'll give you Marvin Bagley for Randall. Right? Because Marvin Bagley isn't panning out too well over there. They don't seem to get too much about him.
I would do that. I would do it with Buddy Hield too.
I'd rather Buddy Hield over Bagley any day.
That's another guy we need shooting, right? Buddy, if they come, right? Or would you call them up and say, give me Buddy Hield for Julius Randle? They may do it because they like the guy they just drafted, right? So
Halliburton, he's playing good.
Fox, right? Halliburton, right? So they may be willing to do it. I think they want Bill out of there. It seems like they want Bagley out of there too.
Yeah, I think those guys, they should. That's the only thing that kind of frustrates me about the Knicks, because there's always those type of guys available, but you will never know. But I just feel like they don't make those type of calls where they're not out actually pursuing these guys. They're more so like waiting for people to come to them or trying to get this one big player, when more than likely those guys ain't going to no team to just be there by themselves.
They have to. I think the Nets, to me, was the perfect example of how the Knicks need to go about rebuilding their team. The Nets, when they got the point guard from LA, what's his name again? Who's now in Minnesota?
D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, when they got Russell, the Lakers were giving Russell away, right? So they brought in Russell. Who did they even trade for Russell? The Nets. Can't even remember. You know what they gave up.
Nothing. Yeah,
they gave up nothing, right? So they gave up nothing, got Russell. Then next thing you know, they took a flyer, ended up with Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, and they built a team that was up and coming that made it attractive. Until the team is up and coming and somewhat attractive, none of these big name players are gone there. So they can forget trying to land these already made superstars. They got to build that team to be attractive, and then you try to, if anything, chase big fish. And to be honest with you, I'm not even a huge fan of chasing big fish. Just build a team for once. We got Thibs, I think, which is good. I think he'll solidify the coaching spot because we've been going through. We had Jeff Hornacek, Derek Fisher, David Fizdale. So I think finally we're out of that mode where I think Thibs will be there for a little while. I think the Leon Rose, I think, will be there for a little while. At the president spot, GM spot, I'm not sure Scott Perry will be there for a little while, right at the GM spot. He's probably, on his way out. But I think we have some management that's going to be there for a while to build a foundation. Now we need some players that's kind of going to be a foundation, I think. And we got to make a decision. How are we going to build a team, from scratch or go with the vets? I would personally build it from scratch.
Yeah.
Would you guys trade Randall for Zach LaVine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do it
Absolutely.
tonight.
Yeah, I'll fly him out there myself.
I might do it for Mark. If they aren't willing to give up LaVine, I might do it for marketing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, nice player too.
But you're right, Theo. To me, that's the type of guys who I think we need to target.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine is kind of he's an all, I would say, but he's underrated, I would say. He's not being considered a superstar because he doesn't have the resume, I would say. But that's the type of guys we need to look at. Even though this guy isn't fully back to form, I think Victor Oladipo, right? Those talks where we were kind of sort of flirting with them, or he was flirting with us, asking players, can we trade for him? And I may take a flyer on him. You can't tell me right now Victor Oladipo on 1.5 legs, and I like RJ Barrett, but he's better than RJ Barrett right now.
I mean, you know what it is?
He knocked down the shot from outside.
Yeah.
Buddy Hield, you brought him up. I think those are the type of guys we need to bring in.
Right.
And they all the right age too, so the timeline's right. So even with the young guys might be 21. These guys might be 24, 25. So when the younger guys get better, these guys are not over the hill or you got to get rid of them. So they all could get better together.
I would actually, to be honest with you, even I may be willing to I'd give you RJ Barrett for this guy on the Bulls, LaVine.
I don't think they would do
it. You bring in LaVine, you need RJ Barrett.
I don't think they would do it. I think you know what? I think if you gave him you in line
on those Dallas picks, because RJ Barrett, I think the guy has a lot of potential, but and he's still, you could sell him as he's a up and coming, right? He has that superstar quote unquote potential. So I think Chicago may be willing to do it.
You know what?
I don't think they don't seem to value LaVine that much, to be honest with you.
No, I think you know what I like. You know the thing that what gets me with RJ Barrett is that he reminds me of a guy that always played with small guys. So he's used to going in there bullying people, playing bully ball. But you playing in the man's league now. You can't do that. Like no. You watch an NBA game. How many people you see dribbling inside the paint, trying to shoulder people down to the basket? Charles Barkley ain't here no more. Something you're not big enough to do that. Think about it this way: even Zion Williamson, you don't see him dribbling in the paint. He'll make one dribble and then he'll try to make a move. So RJ's thing is that he's got to get used to. He's got to be able to handle that. He's got to knock down shots, but he's got to handle that ball and he's got to make better decisions. Some nights, I'll tell you, he plays really, really well. Like you'll watch him, and depending on what the matchups are and stuff, he'll make good decisions. He'll be beating people off the dribble, getting to the front of the rim. And then when he plays against guys that's a little better, they're like, we're going to basically show you what it is to be Andrew Wiggins light.
I think the problem with him too is with Barrett is it's the way he's being used. The guy is more of a slasher slash playmaker.
Yeah,
Using him as a spot up shooter. RJ Barrett haven't taken this many jump shots probably since he was in junior high school.
I think he probably took more threes in
Heard
his first
you.
games. You're right.
When's the last time you see RJ Barrett taking all these threes?
You know, in Duke, I don't think he took one a game at Duke.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So now he's taking 3, 4, 5 3-pointers a game as a guy who can't shoot because we're putting him in the corner. The same way PG-13, right, was saying that Doc Rivers had him playing Ray Allen type of role. We're using a guy who can't shoot and RJ Barrett as a spot up shooter. So that's part of the problem too, is you got to put the ball in his hands. He should be the one. If you're considering him a franchise like Cornerstone, you got to put the ball in his hands. What other Cornerstone player, young player, hasn't had the ball in his hands when he came into the league like this? You look at Ja Morant, Trae Young. You go down the list. All these guys have the ball in their hands. Imagine Ja Morant can't shoot that well either.
No.
You just wouldn't know it because the ball is in his hands and he's able to slash and do what his strengths are. We're highlighting RJ Barrett's weakness by putting the ball in Randall's hands to be the playmaker.
You know the crazy thing about that whole thing when you watch it is that drafting guys like Quigley and bringing in Austin Rivers really didn't help his cause, because when you watch the game, the reason those guys are effective is because they handle the ball real well. So Quigley, he can shoot, but you'll never be able to push up on him because he could blow past you at any given second. Same thing with Austin Rivers. I watched Austin Rivers have times where it looked like he wasn't going to be able to get the shot, throw the ball between his legs a couple of times, make a move, and get a shot. Barrett is just not at that point yet. Like, I think he can get there, but I was even watching. I tell you the truth, it sounds crazy. I think Toppin might handle the ball better than Barrett.
The one thing I'd say about Barrett in this, since watching him from high school, is the guy. He comes across as a guy that has a desire to be great.
Yeah, he
puts in the work. And you don't get that. Some of these other guys have the opposite problem where they got all the talent in the world, could jump out of the gym and everything else, but they don't have that mentality. Whereas Barrett, when you look at him, like they always say, you can't tell whether he got 30 points or 5 points.
No.
Because the movie doesn't change. He doesn't get too high on himself or too low. And I like that about him, especially as a young player. You don't see too many young vets like that.
Yeah, I like him. I just think that hopefully with the new management they'll talk to him, because it's really only a few things. Like it comes down to learning how to handle better and shoot better. If he could do that, and I mean he don't have to become Steph Curry with the shot or anything like that. You just gotta be able to open. You gotta be able to make an open shot, and you gotta be able to handle the ball well enough to make a move to get an open shot at the basket. Everything can't be a tough shot. Like he's got way too many tough shots.
That's where you get a point guard in there with him. Let's say will help his game out dramatically. Either that, or you let him be one of the primary ball handlers. I would like to see him in a pick and roll with Mitch occasionally. Instead, I see Julius Randle on the block, bumping and grinding. Or I see him on the perimeter running pick and roll with Alfred Payton. I would like to see your two cornerstones that you claim right now, your cornerstones, in pick and roll. Heavy pick and roll with RJ Barrett and Mitch is what I want to see.
You're going to laugh? I'm going to bring up a theory. When you go to Duke expects players to go there and to be ready play players, turnkey, just go in there and play. You don't go to Duke and learn how to play basketball. But when you look at people, I'm going to compare them to, like, say, a Karis LeVert. You ever notice that all of those Michigan dudes, from Karis LeVert to Tim Hardaway to Stauskas to Duncan Robinson, all of them, it seems like they must have a superior shooting coach or guys that can handle the ball. So a lot of times it comes down to the colleges and stuff you go to too, because it looks like Michigan, at least for basketball, puts out really good twos and threes. Like all of their guys seem to be able to shoot or handle the ball and different things like that.
Like with
Whereas
R.J. Barrett, I don't think people
they don't develop players at Duke. they
probably didn't know he couldn't shoot.
didn't.
At least this
I mean, he
bad.
didn't have
Because
to.
like I said, he was taking 1 or 2 threes a game at Duke and Montverde.
Yeah,
He comes, he's a spot up shooter. He's getting exposed a little bit. So hopefully he continues to work on his game.
yeah.
Is RJ Barrett a small forward or two guard?
I mean, ideally, I think if he could shoot and handle, he should be a two guard. Because you think about it, Karis LeVert is really a two guard, and they literally almost the same size. But because he can't dribble the ball that well or shoot, he has to be a three right now.
I would like to. I think he's a 2, but I would actually like to see the Knicks put him at the 3. And the reason why I think you probably just nailed it, Kenyatta, is the reason why is I think we can get another guard at the 2, let's say. Like I think he going back, I think he probably could play with a guy like Levine, right? Where you let Levine be one of the primary ball handlers, right? And occasionally do pick and rolls or something like that with RJ, letting him slash. But I would like him at the 3 just for the reasons you just mentioned. He can't really knock down the outside shot. He's strong, right? So he's not like a liability in terms of you being able to post him up constantly as a 3. But I think the Knicks could use another ball handler out on that court, somebody who could break a defense down, which is why I was so excited about the Austin Rivers signing. Because I'm like, the guy who could get his own shot. Quickly could get his own shot. Right now, Quickly is kind of seems like he's regressing a little, but I think that's due to him being, missing game action with that hip injury.
Right.
Yeah, I could see RJ playing the 2 or the 3, but I would like to see him play the 3 at the moment, just so we could get another ball handler on the court. Thing is, going back to that, that's probably why we're missing Alec Burks so much too, right? Is Alec Burks actually a guy who could get his own shot a little bit and knock down an outside shot?
Right.
Yeah, that might explain like the recent drop too, without him.
Yeah, he was a guy who could create his own shot and definitely the most consistent knocking down the shot from outside.
Okay. So I want to talk about the Nets for a little bit. I would just tell you this. I think the Nets, when you look at it, it's turning into. I think Theo, we talked about it offline, as the Kyrie Irving knucklehead show. So I think that for one thing, the bubble Nets look good when they play without without Kyrie and KD. Sometimes you look out there, Kyrie's taking shots that probably should go to KD, and wasn't really overdoing it. So I think that I'm not necessarily disappointed in the Nets yet, because they're still coming back from injury and they're still meshing. But this is I could see if they don't straighten this whole Kyrie situation out, I could see them having a lot of issues throughout the season.
Yeah, because already I've seen a couple of times when they were on the court together, KD and Kyrie, where they didn't like mesh well, and it's usually it seems like KD is kind of like probably telling them like, you need to pass that ball a little bit, right, or slow down a little bit. That's one thing. Like with KD, when he went to Golden State, I think he became accustomed to the ball movement and stuff like that. And plus, I don't think, at least it didn't come across like Steph's personality was like to try to outshine KD. It came across, at least to the public eye, as being like more welcoming, right? I know he had that issue with Draymond Green, where Green was kind of like, you ain't a part of this. But I don't think Steph had that issue. So I think KD, like they had no problems in those finals going to KD to be the man down the stretch in Golden State. Kyrie, on the other hand, now on the Nets, I don't know if he's willing to do that. I could easily see this thing falling apart where next thing you know, 2 years from now, one of those two aren't on the Nets anymore, and Kyrie is running around making LeBron James type of comments about KD. So I think they got to get him under control. If there's one guy who I hope can get him under control, is KD, considering they were supposedly boys. But like you said, I'm not too concerned because they're still gelling as a team. But I think Kyrie, his leadership, he's showing himself a little bit in that leadership department where it's questionable. And I think he had these issues in Cleveland as a leader or lack thereof. Same thing in Boston. And it's already same thing when he originally got to the Nets, even before KD ever suited up. He was making these comments saying we need more help and this and that. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like, I remember some of the guys saying, well, that's what you're there for, right? You're the additional help. This was a playoff team before you got here. Now they're adding you. That's what you're supposed to be, the help. So I think he's got to slow down with some of that stuff. Then he missed the game. And then made the comments allegedly he missed the game because he didn't want to play and then ended up missing another game, I think. So I think, they gotta rein him in a little bit. I don't know if that's possible. But overall, I'm not concerned about him yet.
KD got to rein him in. But the real issue with the Nets really is they play no damn defense. They give them 120. They're playing a game when Atlanta Hawks are scoring 120 back-to-back games. You playing other inferior team. They score well over 100 points, but they got more issues than Kyrie. He's just a bigger issue than for the team, I should say. But they got to play some defense, man. These guys play no defense at all, including KD.
Only KD. That's you. Don't you would never say that, right? That KD. Actually, you know who it looks like played? Live. Joe Harris looks like he played defense. And
right.
I think they missed Spencer Dinwiddie. I really think they missed Spencer Dinwiddie already.
Mm-hmm. And the coaches too. I'm sorry to cut you off, my man. But coaching staff who played defense? Nash. He played defense when he was a pro. D'Antoni.
They got Jock
Amari?
Brown, but none of the guys.
Who's talking defense?
The whole staff of non-defenders.
Come on, it's hilarious, man.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they don't have nobody noted for defense on that staff. There.
Right, that's an issue.
KD tried to play defense. Terry Rozier, right?
Right.
Now he
got dunked on
for the rest of the year after that dunk.
Oh man!
But I trust KD a little bit more right now, I would say, than Kyrie.
Of course.
I think for whatever reason, maybe it's probably his contract, but it seems like they're looking to potentially move Jared Allen. I think because they don't want to pay him.
Yeah.
But I think he plays solid defense.
Yeah.
So he's another guy. DeAndre Jordan is supposed to be a defender. That's his main reason he's on the court.
I think Theo called it on him. I think DeAndre Jordan might be past his prime right now.
Yeah, he's done.
How many years does he have left?
No, this is it for DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan is like he's on a year-by-year deal.
So you might want to pay Jared Allen. So the last thing you want to do is let him walk, and then DeAndre Jordan is the new Tyson Chandler.
Right.
He's serviceable.
Right.
He really shouldn't.
Right.
He shouldn't be logging heavy minutes. Now you don't let this guy walk out of the door too because you didn't want to pay him, Allen. So they better be careful. They got a lot of decisions to make in general because Dinwiddie is a guy. I think in order for him to be himself, he needs the ball in his hands. He's a playmaker. He can shoot a little bit, but he's a playmaker. I think LeVert can play off the ball a little better.
Yeah.
Even though he can play on the ball too, LeVert. But I think Dinwiddie needs the ball. So whenever he's out there with Kyrie, it gets a little weird because Dinwiddie's just standing around looking. So what do you do with Dinwiddie, assuming he comes back and he's healthy enough where he's pretty much the same player, because he never was an explosive athlete. Plus, Dinwiddie may have torn an ACL in college too, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he tore an ACL in college too. But he's not an explosive athlete. He's more shifty.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think he'll be okay, hopefully. But do you keep him? They got too many guys who kind of sort of play the same way.
I think you got to kind of keep them with it, because I noticed that when he played with Kyrie, he kind of kept Kyrie in control without saying anything. Basically, what he would do is when Kyrie got out of control, he would just go up and bring the ball up. He'd take the
He's
ball up.
running the point now.
Yeah, I'm running the point now, and take him off the ball. Whatever. I mean, he shouldn't have to do that, but I noticed if Kyrie went down the court and turned it over or messed up 2 times in a row, he wasn't bringing that ball up a 3rd time. It's like, nah, I got it. You could go down.
Plus, what's his contract like? Because I know he.
Oh, he's got a great contract for a team that won him. He got he's got 3 years left for $30 million or something, like real team friendly deal.
No, yeah. If it is, then yeah, they better keep him if he has that many years left. Because I know he had that weird thing where he was trying to, which the league kind of stopped him, right? Where he was trying to do like the Bitcoin thing with his next contract or something. Yeah, people were investing in him on his next contract.
Yeah, he tried to make himself a stock option or something. Remember?
That's hilarious.
When is his next free agency? Because there's no way he could have been trying to plan that now for 2-3 years down the line.
Well, I know he just signed a new with a new agent after he tore his ACL or something. So I think it's 2 years.
He may be up. I don't know if it's this summer, but he may be up soon. So do you pay him? Do you pay LeVert? He just got an extension. LeVert.
Yeah, he got the regular
cheap because he was injury prone. LeVert, right? They got him right after he dislocated his ankle or whatever that was.
You want to hear
the security?
You want to hear the ongoing joke? The ongoing joke in my house. The ongoing joke in my house is that everybody should be happy as long as they don't get a Kyle Kuzma contract. Kyle Kuzma got the worst deal out of any of those young people ever. Everybody got 15, 16, 14, 4 or 5 years. Kyle Kuzma got listen, the same thing like Robin Lopez or something. 3 years for 30 or something.
Yeah, he got 3 years for 30 or something like that, right?
Yeah, he got the worst deal out of anybody.
And the crazy thing is he probably won't even live out that contract on the Lakers because LeBron going to trade him after this season. If he make it through this season, depending on how the Lakers look, LeBron going to have him traded for another veteran.
Dinwiddie's a free agent not this year but next year, and his deal is only 3 years for $34 million. So
if you think about it, they're going to have to make a decision on him because
next year, definitely.
You just paid Joe Harris $80 million.
Yeah.
You gave, even though his contract isn't that bad, but you just gave LeVert, I think, 3 years for like 45 or something, 15 per, which is good. I think that's a team-friendly deal.
Yeah,
you got KD's contract, Kyrie's contract. Now, do you pay Dinwiddie? Allen seems like the odd man out.
I think you let DeAndre Jordan go and find out how good Nick Claxton could be, because he wasn't too bad last year when he got to play. So DeAndre Jordan might be the odd man out. You know DeAndre Jordan don't start no more. He lost his starting job already to Jared Allen. So
it's one of those things, yeah. They're going to have some decisions to make, but I guess it's a good problem to have in terms of having enough talent where you're trying to figure out who you want to keep and who you're going to pay. Whereas the Knicks, we have the opposite problem over there is not enough talent. Because you figure you put a guy like, let's say, Dinwiddie on the Knicks to me are a completely different team.
Oh, yeah, that would change the team. Definitely.
Because the guy, he could get into the paint and cause havoc. He could create.
Yep. Guys will get open shots. Slashes will be good. It'll be yeah. Like, put it this way, when people were talking about it, I know people didn't want him because of his age. But if Chris Paul would have went to the Knicks would have been able to listen him to compete a lot more. We got Cleveland's up 35-10 going into halftime.
Yeah, don't be surprised. Tomlin firing. Even though I don't think he deserves it, it's just African American coach who hasn't won in a few years. That clock is ticking.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, so just moving on to baseball. What's going on with the Yankees and DJ Lemahieu, man? I mean, the longer it takes, the more I think that we're not gonna get him back.
Yeah, it's reaching
It seems that way.
man. It's reaching that territory where it's a little strange.
Yeah.
I would like to see him back, but how much do you pay him? I guess that's apparently what the Yankees are trying to figure out too. How much is he actually worth?
I think the issue with the Yankees is the Suns are just damn cheap with their money. Unlike their dad, they're just cheap. That's
Yeah,
what it is, man. And you don't want to losing LeMayo to the Dodgers or some team like that. That's what's going to happen. You can't get Lindor. Lindor is in Queen with the Mets. So right now they seem like they're all in on DJ LeMahieu. But when you can be cheap and play hardball, you're gonna bounce, go to the Dodgers and get his money. Then what? Who's plan C?
I
Plan
think
B is what was Lindor until he got traded to the Mets.
the Yankees have a bunch of those like utility type of guys, could play a bunch of positions, and I think that's where LeMahieu falls in, which is good. But at the same time, I don't think like what LeMahieu brings in terms of that ability to play multiple positions and stuff is good. But I think that money would be probably better well spent on pitching again. Granted, we just went out and got this guy last year for $300 million, whatever it was, $350 million. But I still think we need more starting pitching. The whole middle relief thing, we got good middle relievers, this, that, but I think we need more pitching. I think.
So you're not gonna sign LeMahieu. So who going to play defense? Because Gleyber is not a good defensive player. You can't
I
play
tell you what,
shortstop.
I think you're right. I think the LeMayo's value is on the defensive end, but I do think that the Yankees offensively, I wouldn't even count them because they got a better offensive player that they're not even giving a chance right now, or just as good. Remember, people forgot Miguel Andujar led the league in doubles, had 28 home runs. He was the rookie of the year, not the shortstop. Miguel Andujar's problem was that he was making too many. He had 13 errors.
Right,
Yeah,
he
So
can't fail.
yeah, so the defense is the issue. They got the bat. The bat is there. They don't have to replace that, but it's just tough. I mean, how old is DJ LeMayo too? Like I couldn't. I would pay him his money. I would definitely give him his money and want to keep him. But it comes down to I think that's what counts too. Like these 10-year deals that people try to get and all that stuff. I
yeah.
think that stuff is over with.
Hmm.
And he could probably blame part of this on COVID because they
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. That's the problem with part of the problem is LeMahieu is 32 years old.
nah, you're 32 years old. You can't get longer than a 4 to 5 year deal,
Yeah,
Tom.
you're not getting a 10-year deal. I hope not at 32 years old.
No, they,
You
they
know?
already got one of those. Giancarlo Stanton, he'll be there till he's 42 or something like that.
Yeah, he's
So
killing our salary cap right there.
yeah, exactly. Like I personally, I think LeMayo's good for about 400 if he would take that. For some reason, I think he's thinking like 6 for 200 or something crazy like that. That's not gonna happen. I mean, I don't think. But the thing is I don't think nobody's gonna give him that deal. I think he might do something stupid like a lot of these other players where he takes a 1 year deal from somebody and tries to re-enter free agency. I can't say I know too many times where that actually worked for the player. Where they was him took a 1 year deal and then came back out and got a huge bigger contract.
Yeah, not in baseball.
No,
Really seen that strategy work out too well.
I got a strange scenario. I don't know if he signed yet. If LeMayo goes, do you bring back Didi? Because he's a free agent.
That'll work.
Yeah, it might be a.
Exactly right. You
I,
play Andujar and Didi, you got the bat and the glove, and then that call it a day.
Yeah, it might be a good, stopgap until they find longer term
Yeah,
solution.
I wanted to keep Didi in the first place.
Yeah,
I didn't want Didi
yeah,
to go, but you bring him back. Why not? You know who you get? Trevor Bauer for pitching.
yeah. That's true. That is true.
Do you guys keep Tanaka and move on
Uh,
from Tanaka? What are we going to do?
I think you're right. I think it might be time.
Yeah, I think we need more. I think we need more starting pitching.
Yeah, Severino is not healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
he's been unhealthy the last season or two. Severino.
Mm-hmm.
right now,
So
Didi's only got a 1 year offer on the table, that qualifying offer for 1 year for 18.9. I signed Didi 3 for 60. Call it a day.
I'll do it.
3 for 60
I
and let
agree. I'll do
LeMayo
it.
go. I mean,
Where
and
does,
if you put that money towards pitching or something, that'd probably be the better move.
what is LeMahieu reportedly looking for in terms of contract?
I know it's
In
over
terms of money.
25. It's over 25, and I think it's more than like 5 years.
So he wants a
Nah,
He
five
wants
year
nah,
a
we can't.
5 year deal for like between 25 and 30 million.
That's a
I
lot.
think like 5 for 150. I don't know if that's happening though.
The
Not at
problem is
32.
his age is the issue.
Yeah.
It's his
If he was
age.
28, they would have did it already.
Right.
Yeah, 32.
Yeah, 32, that's rough. Because don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, from 32 to 35, we're going to love that deal. 36 and
Right.
37, we're going to hate that deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't afford to have two Albert Pujols on our team, man.
Yeah, exactly. Dragging the cap down.
Yeah,
And
man.
in order to do that deal with LeMayo, we'd have to get pitching right now, and we'd have to try to win in the next 2 years. Because, we keep forgetting about? We're going to have to play these players. How much money are you
Right.
going to pay Aaron Judge? How much money is he going to get?
Right.
You still got to pay the catcher. He didn't get paid yet.
Mm-hmm.
Neither did the
Glaber,
shortstop.
right? Glaber Torres,
Glaber neither.
right?
Yeah, Glaber didn't get paid. Judge didn't get paid. None of these guys got paid.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which is why
Sanchez didn't get
the
paid.
Yankees, they have money to spend, plus as much money as they're making.
Yeah, they're making money
They
handle.
have money to spend. It's just whether they want to spend it or not.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
good. I mean, I think
Mm.
I think what they should do is should be smarter. Is that a lot of these teams? What makes baseball tough is that they have control of the players for so long that when the players get free, they want top dollar, and I get that because what I would do is what the Indians did years ago. Remember when the Indians had Albert Bell and Kenny Lofton and all of them? They didn't make them wait to get the money. After 3 years, they gave them like these 4 or 5 year deals for what seemed like a lot, but it was only a lot because it's them. If you make a 700,000 and somebody's like, "Listen, I'll give you a 5 year deal for 5 million a piece," you like, "Yeah,"
Yeah.
not realizing you're not getting the real money. But if they wait to the end of that, now I want 20 a million. I want 15 a year.
Yeah, you got to try to catch them early.
Yeah, get them to sign early instead of waiting
That's,
to that end.
that's what the Nets did with Dinwiddie, right? If you think
Yeah,
about it,
yeah.
got him
How
on a
much?
3 year, $30 million contract or whatever it is.
Yeah, think about it. When
He's
Aaron
worth
Judge is
more
gonna
than
go
that.
to salary arbitration, he gonna win salary arbitration. He can get a 1 year deal every year for the next 4 years for $30 million a piece in arbitration or something, 28 million a piece. Then you're gonna have to sign him to a deal. It's gonna be like 8 years for 320 million. He's gonna be the next Patrick Mahomes or something of baseball. But that's the thing. You got to sign these guys there. I think LeMayo might be gone.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I think so.
See,
Yeah. What do you guys think of the Mets with that Lindor deal?
Great deal.
Yeah,
Great.
I thought it was great.
yep, good
And they didn't
deal.
really give up much either. I mean, they gave up the guy that he basically going to replace anyway. And the prospects they gave, from what I understand, it was not like they were league ready prospects anyway.
They're a very good pitching rotation. They're a very
Yeah,
good, strong lineup. I mean, if you're a Met fan, you should be happy. What you got? DeGrom, Carrasco, the kid from Toronto they got last year. The pitcher, I forgot his name right
Stroman.
now.
Yeah, Stroman.
And
and they
then
got
you got Syndergaard who's very talented but up and down. But if you put it together, man, they got four very good starting pitching, probably the best in baseball. If all four
yeah,
guys put it together, very
yeah.
good lineup. Yeah, you could Lindor anywhere between 1 and 3. You know, so that I mean, Mets is doing good. They got an owner who's going to spend money.
I heard that they might even bring in George Springer.
If that happens, if that happens, they talk a World Series. Point blank.
Yeah, I like the moves the Mets are making.
Okay.
But
So
I think Springer's going to go to Toronto because I think they're offering more money right now, and that's been the hottest, longest rumor going on for a while for Springer may go to Toronto. But if we go to the Mets talking World Series, and you're talking best
yeah,
team in New York too as well.
yeah, I think so. So just as we get ready to start winding down, who do you guys have tomorrow? Alabama or Ohio State?
I'm going with Alabama.
You know what? I'm going Ohio State, man, because Ohio State should beat them boys last season. If that receiver would have ran that route, that would be a
Yeah,
touchdown. That'd beat Alabama, but he
I want to
stopped
see
and ran a
Ohio
different route.
State too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with
but
you too.
I'm going Ohio State, man. You know, I'm going Ohio State. It's like the Browns playing Steelers. You know, it's overdue. Time to beat them boys.
Yeah.
It's time to beat them. So it's time for Buckeyes to beat Alabama, man. It's time.
I'm right there with you. So, guys, what's up, as we get ready to sign off, any final words? Kareem, you got any final words?
Just want to go back to the Knicks. I think we're finally improving. I think we gotta decide on which route we want to take in terms of a full rebuild or this building around Julius Randle and such, the mid-age type of player. But overall, I'm just excited in terms of the direction we're going with the New York teams in general, with the exception maybe of the Jets. I think the Jets have a chance to get there in terms of moving in the right direction, depending on who they hire as coach. But yeah, I think as a fan of most New York teams, I like what New York is doing.
Hey, Thea, what final words do you have?
As a Cowboy fan, I'm happy that we have fired Mike Nolan, our coordinator. He was awful this year. But hopefully we will find somebody who is not a friend of McCarthy, somebody who knows football, who's I guess up to par what's going on. You know, not outdated as a coordinator like Mike Nolan was. He's very outdated head coach for our Cowboys. And rest in peace, Tommy Lasorda, man. You know, he's part of my upbringing as a kid growing up. My first love was baseball. Watching him, running the field when Kirk Gibson hit that home run off Eckersley against the A's many years ago. So, rest in peace, Tommy Sawyer, man.
And I just want to again second what Theo said. Rest in peace to Tommy Lasorda. Whatever the bleed Dodger blue. Something definitely rest in peace to Tommy Lasorda. Again,
Yeah.
thank you tonight, Reem. Thank you tonight, Theo. We'll say we put together another great show. Appreciate you guys. Have a great night.